Hi everyone, and welcome back to another exciting episode of the March8 Show. I hope everyone had a great long weekend. For those obviously based in the UK, we were lucky enough to have an extra long one to celebrate the Queen's Platinum Jubilee. So in the office, we were talking about all the barbecues and street parties and all the United Kingdom bunting that was happening in the past 4 days. So super exciting. But obviously the show continues as usual, and it wouldn't be March8 Show without obviously my partner in crime and our editor-in-chief of March8 magazine, Lucy.
Hi Emily, how are you? So glad to be back. And of course we had a long weekend, so I'm feeling super refreshed and ready for today's show. As always, thank you to everybody who is joining us today, and be sure to comment in the chat to tell us about where you're tuning in from, how you enjoyed your weekend, and of course what your thoughts on today's topic are. So we'd love to hear from you all.
Yeah, and of course, to kind of discuss and bring in the topic for today, March8 is having a huge focus on women in STEM. For those of you who don't know, March8 is hosting Women in STEM as part of Tech Live London on June 23rd to the 24th in London and online via our virtual events platform. So this is a super exciting event for us, one of the biggest events we're going to have. And so we get to, invite so many amazing female speakers on our March8 stage to discuss so many things like, inspiring the future generation, leadership and how to get women into those leadership roles, breaking the bias, which of course was this year's International Women's Day theme. So we're kind of carrying that on. But yeah, super exciting. And also everyone who is in the chat today, make sure you're commenting away, because there is a chance to win a free 2-day in-person ticket to the event, which is super exciting. I don't think you're going to want to miss this opportunity, and it gives you access to all 4 zones at Tech Live London. So today we actually have an exciting guest, but before we get into that, let's cut to our video, which is promoting Tech Live London. It will give you a great insight into what you can see when you're there, and you're not going to want to miss this. So I'll catch you guys after this short video for our special guest interview.
Technology is transforming the way we live and work. From robots and AI to cloud and Internet of Things.
Cloud has become like kind of the silver bullet for solving all the world's hunger problems.
We are more connected, but with that also comes cyber risk. But innovation is not just changing our world, it's creating metaverses. Do you know how digital transformation is going to change how you conduct your business, or if your business even has a future?
The world that armies fought in the past could be almost decomposed by a group of people.
Join us at Tech Live London and hear exclusive insights from tech evangelists and global business leaders. Network with inspirational CTOs, CISOs and VPs of technology. Register today.
Awesome. So obviously that's super exciting. That is like one of them like cinema trailers I feel like you watch in a big room with surround sound. But yeah, that looks super great. And I can see we've got some ladies in the chat. So we've got Katie coming in from Gloucestershire, Stacey, of course, from the not so sunny Norwich, which I can agree more with, and Danielle from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. So how awesome is that? Thank you guys for tuning in. And also, I guess this is a great segue into introducing our guest for today. So we have Nina Jane Patel, who is actually joining us on day one of Tech Live London on the March 8 Women in STEM stage at 12:30. So a little bit about Nina. She is the co-founder and head of metaverse research for Kabuni, which is obviously her company, and they are on a mission to unlock the design potential in every child and to elevate life. So I'm super excited to welcome her today. We'll be chatting about her work, how important it is to bring safe use technology to children, and to help them learn, grow, and explore within a plethora of environments which leverage the metaverse. So please join me and Lucy in welcoming Nina to the stage. Hi, Nina.
Hi, Nina.
Thank you for joining us.
Hi, thanks for having me. Pleasure to see you, Emily and Lucy.
Of course. So I kind of just wanted to kick things off with a little bit of an introduction. Obviously, I gave a little brief paragraph there about your company, but can you tell us a little bit about yourself and a little bit about your career background?
Sure. Yes. Thank you for the intro there. Kabuni is a safe metaverse for children ages 8 to 16 to learn, grow, and explore. And we're an evidence-based methodology for the use of immersive technology and metaverse technology in the classroom and in the home, so that educators and parents can trust and offer the metaverse experience to their children without concerns around safety. It's an exciting time to be in this space. The metaverse is kind of a bit of a buzzword. Don't know if you guys noticed, but it's lots of conversations around the metaverse. But we've been in this space since about 2016, dedicated to harnessing the potential of Web3 technology and putting it in the hands of educators, parents, and students to prepare them for a better tomorrow. In terms of my background, I come from a kind of multidisciplinary background. I'm a psychotherapist, specifically a movement psychotherapist, as well as have a career in the arts professional as well, at the intersection of culture, mental health, and technology. So investigating ways in which we use technology to express ourselves, also within the context of our culture, and also within the context of psychological well-being and health. And that's a key component to Kabuni, is creating safe psychological and physiological environments for people to explore the technology. And yeah, really happy to be here and discuss this, and I'm really looking forward to the Live Tech London show upcoming.
That's amazing. So could you tell us a little bit about your inspiration for Kabuni and where did it all come from, and why is this such an important issue and topic for you to tackle?
Yeah, there's a few different reasons why it's really important, I think, for all of us. But yeah, speaking personally, I'm a mom of 4 children between the ages now of 11 and 15. And as a parent, I have some very serious concerns around the state of technology and my children's future and current psychological well-being in terms of becoming healthy, happy adults. And in this next evolution of the internet, which is essentially what the metaverse is Web 3.0, the next evolution of the internet, there are a lot of things that we got wrong in the development of the internet when it comes to our children and prioritizing their safety and their well-being. And I'm very passionate about and dedicated, and that's what Kabuni is all about, is creating safe environments for children to explore the technology, to elevate their lives with the technology, and take the potential of it without the security and safety issues that are present for us on the internet right now, such as all the concerns around online safety, data protection, as well as interacting with people we just don't know who they are while our kids spend time on the internet.
Yeah, and I think obviously a focus for us at the minute is this women in STEM, but of course, looking at it from a bit of an earlier on age, why is it so important to encourage children, I guess maybe in particular girls, to embrace technology and especially use it to, like you say, learn, grow, and explore?
Yeah, I think that this divide that we've put up between us as being like either tech people or not tech people kind of has to end in terms of the conversation, because essentially we are all now tech people. We've all integrated technology into our lives in some capacity. And to draw that line, especially for young women and for girls, is to kind of do an injustice to us, is that we've created a kind of a mythological, that's over there for other people to deal with the coding and the designing and all the technology aspects. But really, we're all capable of it. And in terms of, especially right now at this next evolution of the internet, we all need to be more conscious about our digital choices. And we all need to accept the fact that we are tech people and start raising our voices when these technology systems don't work for us, and be part of the conversation as it's being shaped today, right now.
That's amazing. And could you go into a little bit more detail about how you actually go about teaching this, and how you go about passing on that inspiration and these tools to the next generation?
Yeah, I had a bad experience in the metaverse quite recently. It's been in the media, and it's given me an opportunity to advocate for women's voices in this space in terms of, I was sexually harassed and sexually assaulted in a newly launched metaverse environment, a social virtual environment. And what became very present in that moment is that this kind of behavior, where men feel that they can sexually harass and assault my avatar or a woman in a digital space, means that we're allowing it, it's permitted, and we're allowing it to perpetuate and manifest in our digital spaces. And part of the reason is because women's voices aren't present in the creation of the technology, and they're not heard and listened to in the spaces that they really need to be. And we need to, I think, unfortunately, as women, now is the moment that we have to start really putting our hands up and using our voices to advocate for these systems and these technology solutions that really are creating unsafe environments for us and our children, and for many marginalized members of our communities to feel unsafe and threatened, essentially.
Yeah, I think that kind of brings me on to a question talking about kind of why is it so important that it kind of feels like an obvious question, like just based on what you said, but obviously at March 8, everything we do is about empowering women and elevating women to try and speak up and use their voices. How important is it to you that, we have these kind of conversations, and where exactly do you find that these conversations have the most impact?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think the metaverse conversation is really a tipping point at which we are in terms of a society, and the difference between the internet and the metaverse is the immersiveness, the presence, the embodiment of the 3D virtual environment. So we are no longer a third person observer, but we now step into the digital environment and we become first person participating as the experience. So the user interface is no longer a desktop or a phone. It's me and the digital environment. And the implications of that psychologically are very significant, especially when things go wrong, when there's a traumatic event. But it also, provides really wonderful, amazing opportunities when we get it right. And that's where we're at right now in terms of shaping the future of the metaverse. And I would invite as many women as possible, as many voices as possible into the designing and the shaping of the future of the metaverse, because then it will have equal representation and the possibility of it unlocking each of our possibilities and potential in the future of the metaverse. Otherwise, we're kind of siloing a technology future that really doesn't represent nor do us justice and be of service to us as a future that's integrating the technology into our lives in ways that humanity has never really seen before and really can't even comprehend right now.
Yeah, I think that's interesting actually. It's just like this is so new to a lot of people. I think maybe these conversations are why like things like, for example, what happened to you in the metaverse was obviously particularly shocking because maybe people didn't quite understand it, and they didn't quite understand really what the metaverse was about in the first place. So having to further them conversations with experiences that can very much happen in real life must have been quite a unique position you were in. So how was that for you in terms of like media response and conversations?
Yeah, it's been quite challenging, to be honest. I mean, yeah, a lot of the conversations that I have are kind of justifying why I felt I was sexually harassed and assaulted in the metaverse, because it's not real, because I could just take my headset off, because isn't that what virtual reality is for people to act out their fantasies? And I think we're really at a place where we as a society need to decide if that's what we want the metaverse to be. That's not a metaverse I want to be a part of. Mm-hmm. But the fact that I had to justify the fact that I felt assaulted because it's kind of a fantasy space is really not doing us justice, especially as women. And the fact that even in men's fantasy, misogyny is a key role in their fantasy lives. I mean, that's a real problem for society, really. In the fact that this particular social virtual environment that I stepped into with my headset that day was only just recently launched, and it was a social environment for people to connect and socialize and have fun. And this is one of the first experiences I personally had. Let alone even one of my daughters or even my son had put that headset on, the massive concerns that come up for that. And I think if we, and part of me wanted to just shrug my shoulders and say, oh, it's just weirdos on the internet again, because we've all learned to put up with those weirdos on the internet who say, horrible things and do horrible action and where we feel threatened. But as I say, the difference in the metaverse is that it is now a fully embodied, present, and immersed experience where I can't justify it being, something I saw. It's something I felt, something that I lived, something that I experienced. And the technology has been designed, and the fidelity is such that the lines between the virtual and the real world will be continually blurred. The more that the technology improves, the more that the metaverse is going to be an appealing place to spend our time. And all the conversation about Web3 and what that digital twinning and NFTs and blockchain, it's going to be integrated into our lives in so many ways beyond the VR, AR level. And we really need to ask ourselves right now, what is it we want to prioritize in this metaverse space, and how can we protect the most vulnerable parts of our communities?
And as you mentioned, obviously with Kabuni, it's all about children. When children are in the metaverse, what would you say to parents that may not understand the metaverse as fully as they should do to ensure that they are safeguarding their children?
Yeah, it's a tricky one because the current state of the metaverse, there's differing opinions of what the current state of the metaverse. It's either gaming or it's social virtual reality, or for some people, it's already a consumer kind of a brand exchange in terms of fashion and retail. And what people need to understand right now is this is a constantly evolving area that, as we say, is the next evolution of the internet. And if we think back to how much, back in 1993, actually you two probably don't remember, but when the internet wasn't around, how much that really revolutionized how people access information at that first stage of the internet. And then Web 2 revolutionized how we not only access information, but also how we access people and places and things. So we were able to, social media became a new entity that just didn't exist before. And now Web 3 is people, spaces, and place and things. So digital assets are connected to the real world, spaces are connected to the real world, and we are both digital and physical as well. And they're coming together. This word convergence comes up a lot in the conversation around the metaverse. And so what we need to educate ourselves in is about what that means for us. So the current state of the metaverse is basically gaming and social virtual reality. It all seems like fun and games. It very quickly is going to be a real life twin of the real world. And we need to really consider that right now in terms of how children integrate it.
Yeah, I think something that I wanted to pick up on is obviously you mentioned gaming is quite a core function of it. And there tends to be quite a stereotype when it comes to thinking of maybe children playing games, especially when the stereotype tends to be young boys sitting in a dark room drinking Monster Energy, playing violent games. Do you know what I mean? So we had this conversation last week and we were just kind of breaking down that stereotype. And obviously that's kind of contrasting to what you want to do. You want to use it to, for good, to educate, to explore things. So, I mean, is there any examples you've used the metaverse in like an educational fashion or in classrooms or things like that? What's the future looking like for the kind of future of education for children?
Yeah, the possibilities of metaverse and the components and the technology within education are really revolutionizing the education system. So it's bringing awe and joy and wonder into the classroom so that you can travel, back in time, you can travel around the world, the geographical barriers are removed, time barriers are removed. think of the field trips that your teacher could, have facilitated for you had you all had, access to a VR headset or at that time. And that's only just going to unlock more possibilities in terms of pedagogical approaches, more complex thinking, 3D conceptual space thinking and models that we need to kind of rethink how they're delivered to children in terms of an educational setting. At Kabuni, we work specifically on our evidence-based methodology in partnership with schools and educators in the classroom to support them on how to intentionally integrate the technology into their lesson planning to deliver specific kind of academic outcomes around retention, engagement, speed, and also the overall health of that child. Because what we want to do is leave our students as healthy, happy people, both in the metaverse and outside of the metaverse. So prioritizing that holistic child and selectively kind of intentionally choosing the technology at the right time to elevate the educational experience with key deliverable objectives around academic outcomes. So at Kabuni, we never imagined that a child will be in a headset for 6 hours of the day at school. It really is 20 minutes maximum. Go travel to ancient Egypt, learn about those physical chemical reactions within a safe environment in the metaverse, and that it brings to life the education that really currently doesn't integrate technology into the classroom as much as we should be for our children right now.
Yeah, it sounds fantastic. I mean, I know obviously in our chat beforehand, I was explaining that I'm still a novice for metaverse and Web3 and everything, but I mean, it sounds fantastic. I definitely wish that I was in school when we had that technology around, or even now, it'd be amazing.
Yeah, there's lots of exciting possibilities, beyond what I really described there was the kind of virtual reality aspect of it. But in terms of on the blockchain and tracking a child's educational journey, their academic record could be on the blockchain and stored safely and transparently for them. So lots of Web3 components are just figuring out how to come together in terms of, elevating people's lives in terms of the bringing together of the components of this next evolution of the internet.
Yeah, and I wonder how that's been for you in the past, 2 or 3 years, having virtual lessons and virtual classrooms becoming everyday norm. Did you find that people were kind of leaning towards metaverse as an option? Did that kind of ramp up interest for you?
Absolutely, yes, and it ramped up interest. It ramped up, and everyone can now agree that education remotely, if we ever have to do that again, the future of remote education is not via Zoom. It really did an injustice and disservice to our students, or the children of this generation. And, really looking at strategic initiatives and outcomes to establish the use of technology specifically within education, so that we can elevate the education model for students and prepare them for the future. Because this current generation of students who are, entering year 7 this year will be probably the first to really fully integrate the metaverse into their lives in the capacity that its potential is. And that's very exciting. But it also means that for the sake of their futures, we have to really plant some seeds right now to show a healthy, balanced approach to how to use the technology in our personal lives, in our work lives, in all aspects of humanity. Really, it really is our responsibility right now.
Yeah, I love that. I think that's kind of really important, and obviously having you join us at the March 8 show, kind of discussing these topics. There's a lot of things that we're going to be covering at the Women in STEM event. Obviously, things like gender bias in AI and how to kind of implement kind of conversations around women in leadership. So there's a lot of topics that I think we've kind of covered today in a short half an hour that we're going to be covering, over the full 2-day event. So I think I wanted to just wrap that up slightly there. That was fascinating, Nina. I mean, thank you so much. I think me and Lucy will have a little bit of a discussion now after this, just about kind of what we've learned, and I think, what we can do moving forward, to kind of use our platform to promote not only safe technology usage for children, but for kind of hopefully shining a positive light on the metaverse, because we've been seeing it everywhere. I know that I think NatWest had like an event. They did a female International Women's Day event hosted in the metaverse. I'm sure like that would have been something that me and Lucy would love to be a part of and get involved in, because it just seems like that's the future, right? So yeah, I mean, thank you so much, Nina, for joining us today. It's been lovely to chat with you. And of course, everyone, don't forget, you are going to want to catch Nina's talk on the first day of the March 8 Women in STEM show at 12:30 in London or online. So we look forward to seeing you then, Nina, and thank you once again.
Thank you, Nina. See you soon.
Awesome. Well, oh my gosh, you said at the start that I know about the metaverse. I don't think I knew as much as I thought, because that really just opened my eyes to what is totally possible. So, Lucy, what do you think of that?
Yeah, I think, I mean, obviously, as I mentioned, I'm definitely not a pro on this. And it's been one of those things where, because you don't know a lot about it, it seems like there's so much to learn and you're so far back. So, but actually hearing Nina explain it, I actually have a much greater understanding of it now. And I think it really just holds so much potential for the future generations. And hopefully girls are going to be more interested in taking these roles in STEM and technology, because they're going to have this great resource to them. So I think it's really positive, and it's really lovely to have people like Nina who are able to actually explain it and make it a little bit easier to understand for people like me. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I think once you kind of understand it, it's not too difficult to digest. But also, Nina's kind of situation that happened within the metaverse for her, we obviously hope that's like 1 in a million. We don't ever, want to see things like that happen. So whatever we can do on March 8 to kind of shine a positive light and to help Nina's voice get heard and things like that, to prevent kind of harassment within the metaverse, is obviously exactly what we want to do. So, I think what a super fascinating conversation, and things that maybe I hadn't even thought of before, like, if the metaverse is just a replication of kind of real life environments, then there's obviously going to be some issues that are brought into it naturally. So I just think it's a super fascinating topic to cover, and obviously, having Nina join us today and be a female spokesperson for that, I think is incredible. So it was super lovely to have her join us today. But I didn't know if, Lucy, there's anything you wanted to shout about this week. Is there any upcoming content to look out for that's coming up with our magazine?
Oh, well, we are literally mid-cycle at the moment, so we are really busy getting ready for the July issue, which seems like, well, it's still just over a month away, but it's obviously going to come around very quickly. But I can't say too much about that at the moment, but we've got a lot of really exciting things coming up. And obviously we're very excited about the event as well, which is just over 2 weeks away. Am I correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So really excited to hear all the speakers. Obviously, as you mentioned earlier, to hear Nina's talk. I'm really excited for that, and just I'm excited to share all the up and coming content, which I can't say anything else about now though.
Yeah, sorry, I feel like that was kind of under like locks, but I think this week we actually are obviously shouting about our cover star, who was for the May edition of March 8. So I think we've got a really exciting video to come up. We've got some exciting content regarding Sarah Byrne, who was our cover star, of course. So that's getting shouted about this week. We'd obviously have a huge focus on women in sports, as well as our women in STEM section. We're covering it all. So I think there isn't too much to say from me, but just a huge thank you for everyone watching. Thank you, Danielle. Thanks, Jordan. And we have Jeremiah as well from Costa Rica, which is super exciting. We love the fact that we get people from literally all around the world joining us for these discussions that we have. It really means a lot. So I think we're just going to have to wrap it up there, just a little 2 minutes early, but that's fine. That gives everyone time to just chill out for a little 2 minutes. So a huge thank you to everyone who tuned in. Definitely please connect with me. We can obviously discuss the upcoming event if you're interested in getting some in-person tickets. I still have a few complimentary ones that I can give to those connected with me. But as per our regularly scheduled program, we will be back with the March 8 show in 2 weeks' time. So we look forward to seeing you guys all there, and thank you for joining us today. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.